You go on LinkedIn or Facebook a lot, and how
LinkedIn,
you are using.
I'm on LinkedIn every day. Facebook is just for personal use, maybe at night once in a while.
Are you going? You do use LinkedIn? How many times you come across with new people? Those are business contacts, and how you can convert into them sales conversation and share your values, your business with them, so they can prosper their life. So I'm not the expert. I have an expert with me. He is Chief Sales Officer, Social Selling Trainer, and host of Making Sales Social, Bill McCormick. Please help me welcome Bill McCormick. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks so much, Bashir. It's great to be here, and thanks to all the listeners and watchers. It's great to be with you all today.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
So my wife and I had started a promotional product and printing company back in 2013. In fact, it was right in July of 2013, we had started that. My wife came out of that industry, and the company that she worked for, her boss suddenly passed away, and he hadn't made any real plans for what would happen to his business. And while he had wanted us to buy it, it didn't work out with his family. So we started our own company. I had a sales background, so I became the salesperson, even though I was working a full-time job. But we quickly discovered LinkedIn was the place that we could find our ideal clients. In fact, my wife, when she left that company, people found her on LinkedIn because somebody said, make a LinkedIn profile, people will find you. And so we did that. And 2 years later, I was able to leave my other job. LinkedIn worked out so well with us for us to build that company. And so I had people asking me, hey, Bill, how are you using LinkedIn? Can you teach me and can you train me? And so I went down this road of recording videos for people and trying to sell them. But what happened was one of our clients in the promotional products world, the bank, actually reached out and said, hey, we know you do LinkedIn training. Can you train our sales team? And even though I had no clue how to do it, I said, sure, I can do that. And reached out to some LinkedIn trainers, Bryn Tillman being one of them, and her and I partnered together. And that led to her inviting me to join her team, where now I'm able to be the chief sales officer for Social Sales Link. And I get to share with both entrepreneurs and small business owners and sales teams how they can leverage LinkedIn to start more sales conversations.
What are top 3 mistakes to avoid?
Well, so when you're using LinkedIn for sales, there are a number of different mistakes, but the first one being, it's a mistake if you're using LinkedIn as a cold outreach tool. If you're doing cold outreach on a phone, or you're doing cold outreach via email, people see a phone number, they may see your name in an email, but they'll delete that. They don't remember it. On LinkedIn, when you're reaching out, people are seeing your picture, your name, your company. It's much more personal. So you shouldn't do that. The second thing is, if you're trying to inauthentically connect with people, you should never do that. You should always connect with people authentically and find a reason to connect that's not to sell to them. And then the third is, people make a mistake by using their LinkedIn profile and making it all about them rather than about their ideal clients. They make their profile about their accomplishments and all they've done. And people, your prospects don't care about that. What they care about is how you can help them. So those are the top 3 that I would say that people need to avoid when using LinkedIn for sales.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn, and how did you recover from it?
So I mentioned that I had people asking me how to use LinkedIn when I was working with my wife. And so a friend of mine, he was a web designer, and he said, listen, you can create these videos. We'll make a website for you and you can sell the videos. And so I spent a lot of time putting these videos together, learning how to edit them. And it just fell flat on my face. Like, I mean, trying to sell them was so hard. And so what I discovered was that people just weren't interested in spending 6 hours in front of a computer to learn what I was trying to teach them. But it was through persevering through that, I learned some really valuable lessons. I learned a lot about what I was teaching. I really learned about LinkedIn and how to use it. I learned how to communicate via camera, which I would find out in 2020 would be very important. And, this was back in 2017. And it led me to the point where I met Bryn Tillman and we were able to partner together. And I guess really what I learned is things happen for a reason. And you have to follow an idea all the way through. And even if the world sees as a failure, it doesn't necessarily have to be a failure. It's what you make out of it. So I take away from that time that I persevered. I learned a lot of skills that I'm now using. And it allowed me to meet people and connect with people that I never would have connected if I hadn't started out on that path. So even though that was a failure, it led to future success.
So you were talking about success, and that lead me to another question. What are your top 3 success secrets that others can follow?
I think the first thing you have to do is be in touch with who you are and getting to know who you are as an individual and as a person. The second thing would be you have to surround yourself with people who will build you up, support you, and challenge you. You don't want yes men and yes women around you, but people who will challenge you. And the third is to believe in something bigger than yourself. I have faith in God, and that gets me through and helps me in my success. And it also keeps me humble, which is important.
What is the most impactful business book you have read, and what did you learn from it?
So this book right here, Selling from the Heart by Larry Levine. Larry is on a mission to transform the world of sales and bring authenticity to the forefront. And besides learning that, there's one quote from the book that's always rang true to me. I have it underlined. It's on page 26. If you are your authentic self, there is no competition. So that's the biggest takeaway that I have from that book. And I recommend everybody go out and buy that.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I think what I really want to be remembered for is being a person who supports and encourages others, but also is able to bring value.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
Well, first of all, I pray a lot. And that's very, very important to me is to have a faith and to lean back on that. But then also realizing that whatever happened, that's happened for a reason, and we have to follow it through and be persistent and be consistent in everything that we do.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
Well, I wouldn't say convincing is part of the plan. We communicate. And what we look to do, whether it's her bringing it to me or me bringing it to her, is we work towards a collaborative consensus. And, we see each other as equals and as partners. And, we call it Team McCormick. And, we'll say all the time, go team. And we work together for whether we're facing a challenge or we have an idea that we want to bring to fruition. We talk it out together and we come to a consensus in order to move forward.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I want to work with sales teams and help them navigate the ever-changing selling landscape. I mean, when I got back into sales training back in 2018, the sales landscape was changing, but now it's even changed more after COVID. So I want to help them to navigate that and focus on authenticity, especially when it comes to social selling and using platforms like LinkedIn to sell.
Who is your living mentor, and what is the impact they have on you?
So I would have to say it's Bryn Tillman, our CEO, because really everything that I'm doing with LinkedIn, I've learned the foundation of that. I've learned from her, as well as social selling. She is one of the pioneers in the field. And on any list of the top 5 social sales and LinkedIn trainers in the world, her name is on it there somewhere.
What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for my wife and my family. I couldn't do what I do without having the support of my wife and also the support of our 5 kids and our grandkids.
Why is being impactful important to you?
Well, my mission, Bashir, is to help people authentically use LinkedIn to start sales conversations. And if I'm not being impactful, I'm not fulfilling my mission. And if I'm not fulfilling my mission, then I end up asking questions like, what am I doing? What is this life all about? And so it really gives me meaning to be able to help people to do that.
How do you start your day?
So my wife and I get up right around 5:30 a.m. And what we always do is, so we read together every day out loud with each other. So we read a daily devotion, we read a Bible plan together, and then we read an inspirational book. It may be a spiritual book, or it may not be. It may be like a sales type of book, but it's inspirational in nature. And then I go off to have my breakfast, and then I read a business book. And by that time, it's time to get on the computer, and then I'm jumping into my day.
Who is your ideal client?
Would have to be sales leaders, whether they're chief sales officers, chief revenue officers, or VPs of sales and marketing or business development, with teams of at least 10 sales reps or more.
What is the advice you would give your younger self?
I think there's really 2 things. First would be to work hard, because when I was younger, I wasn't a hard worker. I always kind of looked for the easy way out. So it would be to work hard and persevere. And the second thing would be to not worry about what everyone else is saying. When I was younger, I was too concerned with how other people saw me and what they thought of me.
How can we support you?
Well, if folks would go to socialsaleslink.com/library, they'll have, right there, they'll have access to our free level of membership, which is called Silver, and they'll have access to all of our past webinars, downloadable resources, past master classes we've done with people such as Larry Levine, also Keenan. Jen Gittimer is going to be on, who's Jeffrey Gittimer's wife. She's going to be on with us very soon. So if they sign up for that, that would be great. We would greatly appreciate that.
What would you say about your guest experience on the show?
I love this. I love the rapid fire questions. I like to move fast. As you can tell, I talk fast. I was on a webinar earlier today with some folks from the South, and they're like, wow, you talk fast. I have 2 settings, fast and faster. So this has been wonderful. Thanks so much, Bashir.
What would you say as a final word?
I have to talk to everyone who's in sales that are out there, and everyone is a salesperson on one level of another or another. And I would say, be authentic online in what you do. If you wouldn't do something face-to-face with someone, don't do it to them that way on social.
Bill, thank you so much for your time and wisdom. And on the behalf of Entrepreneur Empowerment Club, we really appreciate you. And hope our path across again with another amazing guest. Until then, you have a great time.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Bashir. Bye, everyone. Thanks.